you for arriving here at Athena Women Today. I'm on a mission of self-discovery to understand what it takes to become a confident woman in today's society. We're all used to being behind the camera. Well, what does it take to step in front of the camera? Now, confidence comes from self-worth. We know this. But how do you find that self-worth when you've been lost? We all wear many hats. How do you juggle those hats with confidence? So in each episode on Athena Women Today, I am joined by the most incredible, diverse and successful women who are sharing their stories of confidence, resilience and growth. And in this episode, from island dreams to London courts, I'm joined by a lawyer by 30, Christina Ioannou. Γεια σου, Χριστίνα, καλώς ήρθες. Είμαι πολύ χαρούμενη που μοιράζομαι την ιστορία σου.
Ευχαριστώ πολύ. Είμαι πολύ χαρούμενη που βρίσκομαι μαζί σου σήμερα εδώ.
Ευχαριστώ πολύ. Christina and I spoke Greek as a nod to our heritage.
Yep.
Greek-Cypriot. And actually, before we dive straight in, I would like to talk a little bit more about our heritage. Firstly, Christina, you are Greek-Cypriot, but you also are South African heritage.
Yes, so my mom's side, she was basically born and raised in South Africa. So I was raised with her influences from South Africa as well, but I was raised in Cyprus. So I think in a way I carry both hats. Yeah, and it's something I really feel like I'm lucky that I had in my life because I was able to explore both cultures in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. But really, you started life in Cyprus in primary school. Right?
I was born there, so my parents spent some time when I was an infant in South Africa, and then they moved back. And then my brother was born. But yeah, I was raised in Nicosia all my life, and I even studied there. I did my first degree there. Yes, primary school, high school, undergrad, all of it in Cyprus.
Oh, fantastic. And I think it's a great way to start this podcast, this ambition and drive. And this is why this podcast is called From Island Dreams to London Courts, because it is a story of ambition and confidence. So I'd like to fire off with the first question. You've gone from a small Mediterranean island to a legal career in London. By the age of 30, did you always know you wanted to achieve something so big?
Yes. Otherwise, I don't think I would be here today. I didn't know that I wanted to be in England or in London or exactly to be where I am today. I just knew that I wanted to achieve more. And I knew that I didn't want to stop because I want to still explore myself and I still want to feel like I'm growing. If I stop growing or developing or learning and having all these experiences, I feel like it's not going to be me. I'm not going to be fulfilling my purpose.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
So you feel like you have a purpose in life? Do you feel like you have a divine purpose or just, have you heard of divine purpose?
Not really. I don't know what would that stand for, to be honest. But I just feel like part of my being is to keep exploring, whatever that is.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Yes. So professionally, personally, spiritually, all of these things. And having said that, is not something that I can really put in like a box. It's something more abstract. And if it feels right, then I'm just going to keep doing it. If it doesn't, then we always have the opportunity to change paths. But I'm very happy where I'm at right now.
So what was the moment that made you realize I need to leave home and chase this dream?
I think this started from a young age, feeling like obviously Cyprus is a beautiful place and I love it and I miss it dearly. It always felt, and maybe this is not the case today, but I always felt like it was too small. And it always felt like it wasn't able to give me the opportunity to explore more. I know it doesn't sound very good to say that, and I'm pretty confident that is not the case today because a lot of things developed in Cyprus. So I said, when the opportunity is given to me, that being reaching adulthood and being able to study abroad, then I'm going to do it. So, well, I passed into university in Cyprus. So I did my 4 years of bachelor's there. And then my parents were like, yes, if you want to study abroad and do your master's, then we're going to support you doing that. And then I left and I haven't been there since then.
Wow. That's very brave to leave home, to go somewhere completely different without your family. So what did that feel like? Was it scary?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, if you do have that purpose of wanting to leave for the right reasons, like, right? So I didn't leave saying, I don't like Cyprus, I never want to come back. I really left with the purpose of exploring something new, but I do love Cyprus. It was hard. It is hard because if you live abroad, and especially because of our culture, we are very connected to our family, to our, it's a small island, so everybody is like aunties and uncles, right? So it's hard to leave that behind. This sensation of familiarity, of being known everywhere you are, and come to this jungle of a city, especially London is a jungle, but also to a foreign country that it really doesn't feel that foreign. Because England, we do have connections with Britain, that is the truth. So in a way, it was easy adjustment. I was raised in a bilingual household. My mom speaks English, so it wasn't that foreign to me. So it did feel home pretty quickly, but not to the degree of Cyprus. It would never be like that in that way, but it does feel home today. It's been a process.
And you went to London to pursue your dream. And I guess London is very diverse. It's got, it's incredible. You weren't in a small town that wasn't so diverse. Did you, no doubt, did you experience any type of prejudice or racism? I wouldn't have thought so, being in London. But then I grew up in a small town where we did experience that.
Yeah.
Did you have any of that moving over to England?
I wouldn't say I had, because obviously I'm very past European. I'm blonde, I'm white. So I won't say that I had really been affected by these things in the surface of stuff. I really felt it when I was studying at uni, that, for example, in terms of, let's say, speaking English, not that I had any incidents that they showed me, oh, your English is not very good, so you cannot really compete at the same level with native speakers. It's just that I always felt like, not a feeling of not belonging, but it's not really to my benefit that I'm a foreigner in that way.
Right.
It wasn't always easy in that sense, but a straight ahead incident, I didn't really experience. I know people who did. And, the first thing that you see on a person is color of the skin, the hair, and I don't have that. I know I look different from the Middle English woman, let's say, but I can also look more alike than any other woman that come from where we come from. So no, I didn't, but I could see it. It's more underlining.
Yeah. And what about being a young woman in a big city? Did you have any problems in being a woman and being pursued? You and I offline spoke about Facebook and how dangerous that was. I mean, I don't know if you're happy to share that conversation that we had. Yes,
I mean, of course, we understand that there is a danger everywhere. Women learn to be alerted. Every time I get out of the tube, it's not that I have my antennas on. It's just that I keep my keys in my hand. It's something that in Cyprus, growing up in the 90s and 2000s, it was something that it would never cross my mind. Things change there too, right? But here is an extra layer of alert, right? So I did have an experience with, I was in the tube coming back from the airport. I had my luggage and then my tag had my name, my address, my personal information on it. And there was this guy who was sitting across me in the tube, and I could really feel his eyes on me. By the time I went home, I had a message on Facebook from him, and I just found it so bizarre. It was such a bizarre thing. And obviously, I got my guards up. I was like, I have to be careful of everything in
so
this
he
city.
found you on Facebook
Yeah.
through the tag on your luggage.
Exactly.
On a tube.
Yeah.
It was that easy.
It was that easy. At the same time, I said to myself, I can't let this affect how I move in the city because I live here. This is my home.
Yeah.
So I just became a little bit more cautious in that way. But I felt at the same time more empowered. I was like, I won't let this affect me. Because indeed it could have been worse. It wasn't an incident that really hurt me in that sense. It really shaken me in a way. But I didn't want it to determine what I would be doing from that point on in my life. I wouldn't want to feel scared in the city I live in.
And I feel like this is a natural point in this conversation to talk about your human rights qualification, but actually how you did help women with domestic abuse.
Yeah.
Would you mind talking about that a bit?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it was a chapter in my life that is now finished, but I have it very close to my heart. And I do keep connections, not necessarily with the field, but people who I met through that field. And they are my friends now. So my career started here in London. My major, my LLM, my Master's of Law, was on human rights law. And my first job was actually in a women's charity that was promoting women's rights. And it was working with migrant women who were facing domestic abuse. So as a migrant woman myself, I found it as a great opportunity to see what the difficulties these women have already being migrant women in this country, but also coming from relationships that they were broken, that they were abusive. And I got a lot of exposure in these kind of serious situations that women can be facing every day. I got the opportunity to also meet incredible women, women who come from all paths of life that have been through so much, and then you see how resilient they are. And it was amazing. It was one of the things that I'm so grateful I was able to explore. But at the same time, it was something that I knew I couldn't do on a daily basis. Yeah. It can be very draining. So you need to make sure that this is your purpose. This is something you really want to do. You really want to keep learning about. And I decided that it was time for me to change basically my career path in that way. So yeah, I think it was one of the best experiences in my life.
And just digging a little bit deeper, Christina, into that area that you worked in with women, for many of them, their confidence was completely shattered, their self-worth. How do you think those women could start rebuilding that self-worth and confidence?
So it is a very hard task to do. It's very hard, first of all, to be able to trust again. So your trust is the first thing that is being shaken. And even though I was working for a charity that was by women for women, we had to start building this trust kind of bridge, first things first. So it started from there. And most of the times language is a barrier as well. So we had to make sure that the women who were working there, they were also able to communicate with the women that we were offering our services to. And that is the first bridge that you can build, is to basically distinguish the language barrier. And then is to try it takes a lot of effort, to be honest, to try to give them the tools to work on themselves. You cannot really guide people by just telling them what to do. You have to try and support them in making their own decisions. So it took a lot of counseling support services. It took of support in navigating through the system of receiving benefits. How do I apply for a divorce? What are the legal processes? And that was where I was coming in. I was a legal advisor there. So I was supporting women basically navigating through the legal system and empowering them on taking things in their hands.
And that's where they started to build back their confidence.
Exactly.
With the right support.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think the women who are working in that sector, they have to be resilient themselves. And they're only human. They can only do this if they are already empowered. So I think it's the fact that it was women supporting women, it was some of the most amazing things you can see in the sector, genuinely.
So how did that change you? And how did that affect your confidence during that time? Because like you said, you came away from each experience feeling quite loaded.
Yeah.
Did it ever knock your confidence?
No, I think in contrast, it actually subconsciously really throughout the time when I reflect about that experience that I had, it really made me the woman I am today. I feel like it empowered me in such a way without understanding it really, that we have to stick for each other. We really have to embrace women's solidarity. We really have to learn how to love women. And before everything, before being mothers, before being wives, before being everything, we are women.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Beautifully put. Women need other women in their lives, for sure.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. And actually continue on as a lawyer. So you left that part of your life and you carried on pursuing law in London. I mean, I think at that point in your life, you weren't quite 30 yet.
No, I wasn't.
No, because you got the bar at 25, I think you said.
So in Cyprus, I got qualified. It was 25, maybe I was 24. I don't really remember.
That's incredible.
I came in this country qualified in Cyprus. And then what I did is that I am a registered foreign lawyer and I work as a lawyer right now. So it's just navigating the whole system and basically seeing what is there for me. So I shifted from a women's rights advisor. Then I worked in the housing sector for quite some time, but also worked with migrants and vulnerable people because my human rights background, it was mainly on refugees and migrants. So it was interconnected in a way. And then from that, I got an opportunity to work into the commercial field, still in the public sector, because I was from charities into the public sector. I'm still in the public sector. If you have people who are motivated, the public sector can be great. And then my career shifted at that point when I started working in a procurement team in a borough that I am currently living in. And it really empowered me in such a way to understand that actually if you want to change and if you work hard, it will come to you.
And I think I should tell everybody at this point that Christina was also doing a master's degree. In fact, you've just finished.
I just finished the certificate on legal tech,
So the story here is that if you have ambition and drive, you come from a small community background, you can achieve it if you keep sticking to it. But I think we'd like to just get under that a bit more because it's not easy doing that.
It's
master's degree, law, passing bar at 25, coming to a foreign country. How did you do it? How did you do it, Christina? I think we all want to know that magic drink that you're taking, whatever it is. How did you stick to it? What did you have to sacrifice?
Oh, plenty of things.
Pursuing it.
So there's no magic recipe. There's no liquid that you can drink and say, I'm successful now. I think it takes a lot of dedication. And you have to give up so many things that you love in your life to be, but not successful in, the traditional way of being successful. If you want to really achieve what you want from life, you know that some people are going to leave you. Some people are not going to be there for you. You only keep a small circle. And I'm very grateful for that. And it's not easy. It's not easy to keep doing it because there are going to be a lot of closed doors. There are going to be a lot of rejections. There are going to be a lot of people who said, I told you so, So what I have to really leave behind was obviously my family and my friends, that they are the greatest support system. And I'm very grateful for them. At the same time, I have my partner here. So that's very important for me. I'm not quite sure how it would feel to be doing this and really being by yourself, lonely in that sense. So I'm very grateful for him as well. And then you just restart.
And actually, I think maybe you have an outlet which we can share. Teaching Greek.
Yeah.
Christina's my Greek teacher. And I know for the Greek-speaking audience, look, my Greek was a little bit rusty at the beginning of this. I'm going to get a lesson later. But you're also a dancer as well. You do Latin dancing.
Yeah.
Are these your outlets? Is this a way of channeling some of that, I just want to mix it up a bit, do something different? Or is it just a fun passion hobby?
So I'll be very honest with you. Teaching started because as soon as I arrived here, my, charities don't pay much anyway. So it started as a pocket money thing. I was teaching law and then I was like, too demanding. I'm going to teach Greek. I like it. It's a language that is my native language. I want to think that I'm good at it. And then it just became a passion. I just kept my students since then. And I've been doing this since I moved back here since 2019. I don't think I will ever stop. I really enjoy it. Now, the dancing part came a couple of years ago. I always liked dances. I used to do dances before as an older teenager, as an adult, young adult. And then I was like, I found this dance that is salsa, and I'm doing specifically salsa cubana, if anybody's interested in learning that. And I just really like the sense of community that you can get from that, but also it boosted my confidence.
Yes.
So generally, Maria can second that. I am shy, but not in the ways like I don't talk or anything. I can be interactive. It's just that it takes some time for me to open up in that way. And I reached the point with dancing right now, and I work on it too. It's not that it comes from within, of course, but you have to work on it too, that I really feel genuinely myself. And I don't think anything else when I do that. And I think you have similar experience.
Yeah, I'm a dancer as well. And I think there's something quite incredible about connecting with your body in dancing as well, the rhythm. And it does give you confidence.
It does.
And maybe that was an outlet for you. All these challenges that you've had coming to London, chasing the career, and actually going off, and dancing's a way of connecting with your body, making you feel confident. And especially if you've got such a demanding ambition career, I guess that probably helped give you the confidence to just keep going, waking up every day.
Yeah, it's also the moments that you really, first of all, you invest in yourself when you do something like that, beyond the fact that it's kind of a sport, I would say, because you do really feel the workout when you dance. But music is important. We have to have colors in our life. And music to me is like, indeed, that outlet. Like, I'm in my own world, even though it's a partner work. You have to have a partner to work, to dance salsa. You do have your own momentums. But it's something that you connect first with yourself, then you connect with your surroundings, but you are still at your own time and space in a way. If it makes sense. I don't know. Maybe I'm just...
No, I completely agree. I'm a dancer too. In fact, I'm wearing my dance shoes, which I don't think anyone can see. Stiletto heel dancing.
That's good.
And it's a way to love yourself.
Yeah.
And you've got to love yourself in order to have confidence, because loving yourself is self-worth.
It is. I agree.
And actually, going a bit deeper into that too, loving yourself and feeling as a confident woman, let's talk about challenging men, or the man in your life.
Yeah.
And actually being a successful, independent woman, has that caused any sort of issue with your partner who might feel insecure or challenged by that? Has that happened?
No.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good. So my partner has been supportive throughout anything really that I put my mind into, which is very important. Otherwise, I wouldn't be with him, to be honest, because there is this thing. I mean, it's human nature. If you feel like your partner, let's say, is not supportive, maybe because they're jealous or because they want you to succeed, but not succeed more than them, or not too much, so you're too exposed, and then you're liked more. And all these kind of things that they can come up with inherent problems, with inherent jealousy and stuff like that. So my partner isn't like that. He's actually quite the opposite. He's not the one who is going to cheer me up as a cheerleader, but he's the one that is always reminding me, you're here for a purpose. You just have to keep going. I'm here to support you. So he's very subtle in doing this, but he's doing it in the right way, if it makes sense. So I really appreciate that. And apparently with me also works great, because this is what I need to get from him too. I don't like somebody who's just, we say that in Greek, just, touching my ears and telling me what I want to hear. He's telling me the truth, unfiltered sometimes, and it might bother me. But he's telling me the truth, so I understand that actually, yes, I am here for a purpose. I'm not saying here in London, here in my life. There's certain things I want to achieve. And yes, I'm going to get rejections, as I said before. I just have to keep going. So he's been very supportive in that way.
Do you experience it in any other people at work, men or women?
At the top of my head right now, I don't remember anything at work, but I'll tell you something. There was this incident last year when I started doing my first, let's say, interaction with salsa cubana, and I was exploring it more, and I was going to more workshops. There was this girl that came, I was dancing with my friend. She can also lead, so we can dance in pair. And this girl came and told me, oh, you don't look like you have a dance background. You don't dance as well.
Oh,
and
wow.
She told me that.
She just said that.
She just opened her mouth. And my friend, when things like that happen, I'm so shocked that I literally cannot talk. I couldn't say anything back. I was just standing there. And then my friend was like, no, she actually dances very well. So I did have that.
It's incredible, isn't it? Because we're talking about women supporting other women.
Yeah.
And this has come up before in a previous episode on this podcast, how it comes from a woman.
Yeah.
Who can equally just put you down. Yeah.
So it really affected me, to be honest. But what I did was that, okay, I'm going to discuss it with the people I have close to me. And I do have people who are very close to me. And I did discuss this with them. And they were like, she's just whatever. I mean, you should know that the people you care about, and this is us, we really see you and we really say things as they are. If there was something that you weren't doing right, we can tell you, but you're doing great and keep doing what you're doing.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
And it really boosted me. You really need people like that next to you, even though the people I'm talking about right now, they don't live here anymore. They live in Cyprus, they live in Australia, they live elsewhere. There are some who live here too, but they were really like this support system that you need in times like this. So I overcame that, and I just feel sorry for that girl who just said these things. And I was like, it's a shame that you don't see that women need women to, yes, be honest, but there's a time and place.
Yeah.
You can say that. And if I was me 5 or more years ago, maybe it would really shatter me. It would really make me stop doing what I love.
To those women out there, you can be beautiful but not too beautiful, because then you're challenging them. You can be successful but not too successful, because that's not good either.
Yeah.
So it's difficult. But then the same could be said with men as well.
True.
Yeah. So, and Christina, do you think ambition is something you're born with or something you develop?
I think you can develop it. That's for sure. Because you have to be exposed to the opportunities out there, and then you make a choice. It's a conscious choice. If you want to achieve more, then it means that you have ambition to becoming more, to achieving more. Some people are not exposed to that. We are privileged enough to be exposed to different opportunities. We come from a background that they gave us everything. I'm talking about myself personally. My parents were always there for me, and I'm very grateful for that. And they were always supporting me in my decisions. So I do have an ambition as a person. I do think it's inherent and it's within me. But I was given the support and the tools to be able to keep pursuing it.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know if I answer your question, but I think
much so.
Thank you.
But, your mum's from a teaching background.
Yeah, and
so
my dad.
And your dad.
Yeah.
And yes, and they were constantly supporting you through all your education, through to that master's degree.
Yeah.
And they were interested in what you wanted to do.
Yep.
So I guess your parents were the biggest support for you.
Yes.
Any other mentors in your life?
Friends, always my friends. So I'm very blessed to have very good friends. I chose them and they chose me.
Should we give them a shout out?
Yes. To all my good friends here, there, in Cyprus, anywhere in the world. I'm very blessed to have you. And yes, I mean, it's your safe space, right? So because you grew up together, your parents come from a different generation. So there's only so much they can teach you. There's only so much they can hold your hand and navigate through. But your friends, you have the same experiences coming from different standpoints. So they're really there for you. And even though that I have best friends that we grew together and then we grow apart, we follow our own paths. My best friends now have families. Some of them have kids. Some others, they don't. Some others, they're single. But they're still within our choices and within our career and life paths. We're still there for each other. Even if we don't agree always, even if we fight over opinions and stuff like that, I know they're there for me. And I'm very lucky to have that. It's very difficult to have connections so deep that without even thinking what you really want to do, people come and tell you, are you thinking of this? Because they know you so well.
Well, I think we're circling back round to that magic drink I was talking about earlier on for aspiring young women looking to chase their dreams. The answer is support. Actually having good parents.
Yeah.
Or a good network of friends or other family members to help you through those difficult times. That sounds to me more like the key to success.
Yeah.
It has to be in you, for sure. We've discussed that. And you've made lots of sacrifices. You said you had to leave them behind.
Yeah.
And any other sacrifices you felt that you had to make to pursue this dream?
Well, obviously living Cyprus and living all that support bubble.
And a
there.
Mediterranean island.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
and the sun.
Yeah, you struggle a lot. It's a big shock, not only cultural, but like weather-wise. When you come from a sunny place, I also studied there. So I had my independence for quite some time. I had my own car, driving to the beach every weekend. There is a big sacrifice that happened there. Yeah, leaving Cyprus and the package that comes with leaving Cyprus. So family, friends, good weather, good food, the conveniences that an island can offer you. So small distances, you have your car, all of these good things.
But I don't think it sounds like you're going back there or do you know what's next for you?
No, so Cyprus is always going to be my home. And that is something that I'm very vocal about, that if one day I wake up and I say, I don't feel like it here anymore, I know that there is always Cyprus to go back to. Maybe it's not going to be the same place as it was when I left, but it's still home for me. Yeah. Even though London is home, Cyprus is always going to be home in many different ways that I cannot really explain, but it's always going to feel home.
And I think that can be said for the ladies who are watching this in those small communities. In fact, I remember what the mayor said at citizenship ceremony with my husband. And he said, you come to this country not to forget what you left behind, but to come with the knowledge that you bring to enhance our society with your culture.
Yeah.
And I thought that was wonderful.
Yeah. No,
and he was
beautiful.
a Polish mayor as well.
Oh,
so
right.
I just thought that was really special. You know, you don't forget, leave it behind. You come and share it.
Exactly. Yes. Of course. I mean, even when I become British, which I'm in the process of becoming British now, getting the passport and everything, Cyprus is always going to be, I'm Cypriot. This is what I am. And I think most probably my kids are going to be. And then it's like you never forget where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Even though you are third generation Cypriot. And I think it's two things. So one is that our culture is so prevalent in a way. There is so many things that make us what we are. We are loud. We are expressive. Yep. The way we move. I can tell you with certainty that if I see a Cypriot a mile away, I would recognize them. It's one of the beautiful things about our culture. And then second of all is about us really feeling connected to where we come from. So I think if I wasn't carrying that part of me in me, I wouldn't be able to survive and also merge with the culture here. I mean, that's why I love London too, because it's so multicultural and it just embraces. It doesn't suppress basically the other cultures. It embraces every culture. And it's beautiful to be exposed to all of that.
That's brilliant. That's what's so magnificent about this country.
Yeah.
And as a young lawyer, have you ever had to fight to be taken seriously?
Yes, 100%. I think mainly this started from Cyprus when I was training as a lawyer. There was moments that obviously I felt because of the young of my age, because I was a woman, that especially older men, I would say, I don't want to put labels, but this is my experience, weren't really having faith in my capabilities. And I had to prove twice myself in comparison to a man who was in his 30s, for example, and had obviously, yes, you have more experience. I started when I was 23. You really have to fight to get your point across. Now, I did have experiences that I was doubted about my skills and my knowledge. And you have to be very diplomatic, especially because Cyprus is a small place and the words are traveling very fast. So I wanted to encounter that. I didn't want to leave it to that point that I felt that wasn't right. But I also wanted to make it in a professional way. And I did. I had an incident where I had a manager that they wrote an email saying that I gave an advice and everything was wrong, but I was sure that it wasn't. So I responded back to that email and the CEO was copied on that. So, and then the CEO was like, why did you do that? And I was like, because my manager did it first. And I thought it was only fair to keep the correspondence and the discussion as it was.
Yeah.
So I won't let mistakes and issues of others affect the way that I'm acting. So that has to always be a professional way, just because they think I'm inferior whatsoever. I mean, that's their problem. I really want to think that I'm fair, and I really want to think that I do the utmost of my ability to offer the best services possible. And it's important. I owe it to my clients, and I owe it to justice, basically.
I mean, do you think that's also more so because you're a woman?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
People often objectify us. Just because we're a woman, it means that, oh, she's a pretty girl. She might not be smart enough. She's just pretty, you know, kind of, this kind of comments can pass through you. Or, let's see what you can do. Yeah. I mean, yeah. There is plenty of stuff like that.
But have you found that in London?
I was working in the women's sector for quite some time. And then I was very lucky when it comes to that, because in my current job and in my previous job, I was working with teams that they were very, very supportive. And also I had limited interaction with anybody else because I'm doing contracts. I didn't really find it in that sense as big here. I also know that there is better support ways here.
Something that I am picking up on too is, obviously, we've got an age difference, and going back to your confidence and how you seem very confident and a lawyer by 30. But actually, we also chatted offline that you work from home and you're not so much in the office, and actually not even behind a camera. And so you're very confident. But do you find, and maybe also it was with COVID and a lot of people, it's quite Gen Z. Do you find that you're less confident with people, connecting with people in person or in front of the camera?
It's certainly harder now. It's been 5 years I'm working from home. It's going to be, it's 5 years now since COVID started. And then I started working from home, and I'm permanently working from home. Yeah, you lose interaction, hence you lose exposure. You don't pay attention so much to your movements or your body or the language that you use. And yes, it can be very hard to actually gain that back. So for the past 5 years, I've been really like in front of a laptop screen, and I'm very lucky because also my partner is working from home. So at least I do have an interaction in the house. It's not just me in four walls. I'm working on it. So I'm trying to go out on the weekends, see people, socialize. And it is a bit of a shock, to be honest with you, because being in the house 24/7 and then going out on the weekend on a busy Saturday and Sunday in London, it's a big discrepancy between the two scenes.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And what's interesting in hearing that is, when we think of you, Christina, as someone with so much ambition and drive, coming from Cyprus and chasing that dream to be a lawyer, you've done it, I've got a master's. You paint this picture in your mind of a super confident person.
Yeah.
How far does that confidence really go under the skin? Have you had to really search for that self-worth? Because now we're talking about you're not really interacting with people so much in the last 5 years.
Yeah. No, it takes a lot of effort. So I think in terms of self-worth, I felt that I have to do things that remind me who I am.
Yeah.
And working from home was indeed detrimental, first of all, to your mental health, especially with COVID. My partner wasn't here yet. He moved in the middle of COVID, let's say. And I said, I have to start doing things that would make me want to socialize more and get out there more.
Yeah.
And support my confidence. And dance was one of these things. I really felt that when I dance, nobody else is in the room, nobody's seeing me, and I don't care.
Yeah.
I just feel myself and the person I'm dancing with, or the people who are around me and my friends. And I'm just there for that. And it really helped me. And I think also in terms of understanding my self-worth, it's continuous practice and self-embracing. And it has to be conscious. You have to really understand that, okay, what did I do in this past week or past month that I wouldn't want to do again or want to repeat in doing? Was it something new? So in terms of ambition, you have to keep pushing yourself. Ambition is not achieved by just, or goals or purpose in life, by just sitting on your couch.
It takes time, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it takes effort, and you have to expose yourself to all these things.
So what was the I've made it moment? Because I think as an overachiever, an alpha woman, that sometimes you can get lost in just the doing and the doing and the achieving and the achieving. I've got this master's, I've got this now, that maybe you forget to actually celebrate your successes. Do you remember feeling at one point, I've made it, I did it?
That's a good question, because you don't realize it.
Yeah.
And then you forget it
easy.
I think the latest thing I would say to you was that my current job, it just came so, and I'm so grateful, it came so easy to me. I wasn't even looking for it, but I really needed a breakthrough. It's not that I wasn't happy in my previous job. I was very happy and I was learning a lot. It's just that I felt that it was time for me to progress. And even though I was trying hard, at the same time I was studying and I was working with the lessons and I had to do salsa and I had to be socialized and I had to have a personal life, it just came out of nowhere. And it's these things that you sometimes say, you try so hard and then when you just give in, it comes to you.
Yeah.
So, and it just came to me so easily. I'm financially way better than I was before. I work less hours, so I have time for myself. And it's indeed a great job. I have a very good team. And I didn't understand what happened, to be honest. I was saying that and I wasn't able to conceive it.
And I think you started in October.
Yes,
October?
yes, end of October.
So let's just take a moment.
Thank you.
Say yes. Process that I made it. And Christina, what advice would you give women from small communities, actually all women, but especially those from small communities who dream of achieving something big?
At the beginning, I would say, just don't be afraid to be more. Don't be afraid to be exposed to a world, because there is an abundance of things that you can experience and can explore and can be. So it's the first step, getting out of your comfort zone. I know I sound cliche, but you have to get out of your comfort zone. That being said, it doesn't mean that, oh, okay, you're going to pack your stuff and you're just going to move to a different country to achieve that. I did it because I was able to do it. I'm very privileged. I come from a background that my parents supported me to come here. And they supported me in my decision of leaving Cyprus and coming here, finding a job. But what I'm saying is, start small. Like, I want to change a few things that I think they're going to give me the opportunity to explore more. Is that taking a new dance class? Is that being engaged in a community group? Is that doing some volunteering work? Is that traveling? Because I travel and I strive to travel more, and it really opened my horizons. And it's one of the things I want to keep doing. So coming from a small community, from a very small island in the Mediterranean, wanting to see all of these things, I started small. I was like, okay, if I want to achieve this, I gotta make a plan. Traveling, okay, where do you travel first? With the money that you've got, with the time that you've got. So all these things just make me lean more towards the direction that I want to be.
Chasing your dream.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what would you say to someone who's afraid of taking that first step?
It can be scary because there is as much good as there is out there. There can be as much bad. I won't say evil. I want to say bad, in the sense that, yes, there are dangers, there is difficulty, there is, let's not lie, there is racism, there is discrimination, especially if you look like you're not from a place that you're seeking support from. But when people, our ancestors and people around us who came from less privileged backgrounds, they were refugees, they were migrants, they were single parents, they were people who experienced war, did it. So do you. So you can be that. So I think is taking the first step, not being afraid in the things that you're going to find in front of you, and also believing that there is good out there. The same way that I supported women when I was working, I want to feel like if I need it once, there's going to be somewhere out there for me, and I found it.
And Christina, if you had to sum up your journey in one sentence, from island dreams to London courts, what would it be? Think about your journey. I mean, the first word that comes into my mind is wow, but I'm not putting words into your mouth.
Thank you. In a word, I would say keep moving forward. Like a phrase, keep moving forward. Whatever that might be, it might be left, right, ahead, backwards, is still a way forward.
And that's how you reflect on your journey.
Yes.
Forward,
yeah,
Christina,
because it's not just...
Keep going, girls.
It's not just the way that, it's not a bed of roses, that it's going to be a way open for you. There's so many times, and I think you can resonate with that. We had to take a step back in order to take 2 steps front.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's still a way forward.
Yeah. Christina, thank you so much for coming on today. It's been absolutely brilliant to listen to your story and your journey to London and being a young lawyer, your ambition and your drive. But guys, Christina and I, as you've heard, we do come from an island that has been divided by war. And so we understand that division is so damaging, how damaging war can be on families, but also generational trauma that's carried with it. So we want to put a message out of unity, peace and love, and recognize countries like Ukraine and in Gaza right now, where women and children are really suffering, struggling, and that actually we need to come together through peace, love, and support those who are in need right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't agree more. I think the world would be a better place if we just be out there and support each other and understand that just because we were born in a place that doesn't have war and it is peaceful and we have all of the amenities available to us, it doesn't mean that somewhere else it doesn't happen. And we are all people. So we should always, I think of others and try to support them.
And a war today is still damaging 30 years on. And we can say that in Cyprus as well, through the generations. So please love one another, respect one another. Please don't be racist or prejudiced. We don't need that.
Yes, we don't.
And I think that's a great way to end this podcast today. Thank you so much, Christina. And thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe for the next episode coming up. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.